Welcome to our HB Tuners live training session part 3 with our Datsun Z car with an LS7 swap. Now in the last video, we got our engine fired up and running, we have our idle control sorted out, we learned how to go and tweak our injector data so that it fits properly within our calibration here, so that everything's going to be lining up as far as our reported airflow and our idle control. Now we're ready to move into doing the calibration process for the mass airflow sensor curve. So we're going to be doing part throttle tuning, wide open throttle tuning, tuning our spark timing, taking a look at the knock retard, and just taking a look at the general process and workflow here to get a math-based calibration dialed in. We're going to have a lot to cover. Let's jump into our live training session so we can get started. Welcome back to our live training session here with our LS7 Swap 280Z. In the last video, we got our idle sorted out. We also made sure that our injector data was reasonable and everything seemed to fall in line from what our mass airflow sensor was registering for air mass, the idle control reported airflow, and making sure that our fuel trims at idle seemed reasonable. Now we did test off idle, just doing some free revving to make sure that the fuel mount seemed reasonable. It was pretty close. This video we're going to be focusing on off idle, so driving, part throttle cruise area of operation, also wide open throttle tuning. So we're going to first start off the video here taking a look at just doing the calibration process to tune the mass airflow curve, part throttle cruising. And then we're going to be moving into our full throttle into power enrichment. Now a couple things that I do want to point out into this video here. If we jump into our fuel, and then we're going to be taking a look at our power enrichment, we did set our EQ ratio here in our very first video to 1.18. That was the equivalent of around 12.4 air fuel on the petrol gasoline air fuel scale. Now we are working in our EQ ratio, so we set up our VCM scanner in the second video. We set up our channels here, MAF EQ air. We also set up 2-bar EQ air. These are going to be used either in the mass airflow tuning and open loop, which is when we go into power enrichment, and when we do our speed density tuning here for the open loop style tuning. When we were looking here in the last video, we were taking a look at our MAF closed loop. That's when we factor in the short and long-term fuel trims. Those are used for idle and part throttle operation. Once we start to get up enough higher throttle angle and load, we want to go from being in closed loop at a leaner air fuel, so we have good economy, to a richer air fuel, so the engine's going to make better power. That's what we're going to be after. So we're going to evaluate our target air fuel that we've placed into our power enrichment, making sure that that seems reasonable. We're going to be making sure that our spark timing, we have to dial that in. We're going to make sure that that's also going to be set up. If we actually go and close out of here, we're going to jump into our spark, into our base high octane. So our high and low octane, we've made these tables the same. The values that were in here, I reduced the values down by about 8-10 degrees from the values that we might have started with stock. That way we don't have to worry about damaging the engine. We want to go and get our fuel tuned first. We want to get that sorted out, and then we can go after our spark timing. Those are the operations that I always move in. Now, again, our low and high octane tables here are going to be the same. Normally, we want to have our high octane having a higher value and our lower octane have about 8 to 10 degrees spark timing less, so that if it has our learned knock factor going on, we're able to reduce our timing as we go on. And we can start to bring down the spark timing globally, or in specific areas that we're interested in as it traverses between our high and low octane tables, using that learned knock factor that we can log and take a look at that PID channel. Now, if we jump back in here into our VCM scanner, a couple things that we need to take care of right off the bat. What we have in here for our logging channels list is really going to be encompassing taking a look at working with more of the idle control. So in this video, we need to go and focus in on adding some more things here for spark control or spark timing. Let's go in here. I'm going to go and let's do a move down, see if that gives us a space. It doesn't look like it's going to give us a space. We're going to start to put some of our timing values here. Actually, what we can do, we can put them right here. It's fine. We're going to go up here to our add channels list, and I'm going to be typing in here. Actually, go to engine, and we're going to go to spark and ignition. We'll go to advanced. We can find all of our advanced values here that are changing our spark timing. So we have timing advanced being logged. We have our idle timing being logged in our torque management advance. We're going to put our base advance, coolant advance, IT advance, PE COT advance. That should be good for that amount. Now in the retard here, we want to see what's going on. We want to have our knock retard being logged, our total knock retard, and then knock per cylinder. We want to log all of our knock values here per cylinder, all 8, so we can see what's going on here. We also have our burst knock and our knock learn factor. Knock learn factor is going to be looking at the difference between our high and low octane tables depending on what's going on with our knock retard as we're going on in time. Knock retard is the instantaneous change in our spark timing in any given cylinder here when we see knock conditions. Now, as it goes on and we're constantly seeing that knock, it stores it into the memory, and then it starts to use that to move our knock learn factor. If we have a high knock learn factor, that means that we're on our high octane table. If we start to go down in our knock learn factor, it traverses into our low octane table. Right now they're set the same, low and high octane are the same, so we're not going to be having our spark timing moving around. Our goal is to always start up our calibration process when we're doing our tuning, making our low and high octane tables the same. Then we can go in after we've done all the tuning, we can make our low octane again about 8 to 10 degrees less. That way we don't have to worry about going in and having a problem when we have bad octane in our tank and not having the spark timing being reduced, more of a long-term effect. So the learn factor here, knock learn factor, is kind of the same idea as a long-term fuel trim. Same kind of idea. It's going to be storing that information and making changes. So we've added that in there. That probably is going to be enough information here to do our full throttle tuning. So we have a whole bunch of data in here. If we go click here to record. Oh, our key is off. Let me go power the key on here on the vehicle. We're going to find we have all of our timing reported here. Now we're taking a look at our spark retard table. This may need to be updated. Let's go here and actually pause this. The burst knock and spark knock into our channels here. Let's go right click. Let's go in here and right click, and let's go into graph layouts. Let's go here to spark retard, and let's take a look. Our table here is on our cylinder air mass and an engine RPM. Let's make sure that we're on the exact same parameters here as we're working with in our tables here, because different
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.